screening of Super over there, and everyone who goes to Super gets a little mask here for to promote Fanatic.
Don't tell them that. Later, it's playing again. Sit down. It's playing again tomorrow. You can get the mask tomorrow. Anybody leaves this place, like, go on, Con.
So let me tell you how I first met this man.
No, we don't have time for that.
I mean, back in the day, when I first started getting into Hong Kong films, there was really only one man who had published books about Hong Kong cinema, and that was before the internet. It was just hearing about the facts behind these films. It was all hearsay and rumors. But there's this one book which talked about the Shaw Brothers, which talked about Jackie Chan, and finally, after many years, email back and forth, finally get to meet in Asheville, North Carolina. Ric is the screenwriter of the film you're about to see, Films of Fury, the Kung Fu movie.
Right.
And it is a fabulous primer guide to Kung Fu films and history. Oh,
maybe not. We'll
maybe
see.
not. We will see.
You finish
this
your
is the
intro,
world
and then I'll give a
premiere.
quick intro, and then we'll start.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to pass it to him.
Okay. Oh, no, we don't need the mic. Take the mic for Super, right? You have to do Super still?
I'm done.
Oh, you did Super. Okay.
Yeah.
Give me the mic.
I'm all for you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. You're having a very special screening. This is not the world premiere, although this is the first time this particular print has ever been seen by the public. This is called a work print sneak preview, because we may not be done yet. It is up to you. So basically, I want to ask you two things. After the movie is over, we're going to have a camera outside, and you can react to the camera about how you liked it. But I'll be in the lobby with my brand new book, Films of Fury, the Kung Fu movie book, which is what this movie is based on, but is far more. It's like it's the 6-hour unexpurgated version of this movie with all my opinions and facts and stuff that has never been seen in America. But I would like you, even if you, and we'll have posters for you too that I can sign or not sign. You have to buy the book, but you can have the posters any way you like it. But what I would really want beyond you buying this book, because I don't want to have to bring these home with me, is your honest opinion of what you're about to see. Because we can make it better if it needs to be better, but I need your opinion. So most of the time people ask for opinions, and usually, oh yeah, it was fine, it was great, I didn't, yeah, okay. I want your honesty. That's the thing I want from you more than anything else. And what's also exciting is I'm now one of you too, because I haven't seen this. I saw the rough cut. I haven't seen this version, which they assure me has all my changes in it and all my suggestions in it, and the directors worked very hard for almost 2 years on this movie, but I'm like one of you. I'm very excited, but I'm also fearful. So it's up to you now. Enjoy Films of Fury, the Kung Fu movie, and tell me what you thought about it afterwards, and buy my book. Where's my Polish starlet? Okay, that's an old Hollywood joke. Anyway, anyway, we don't have to talk about it here. We can go out to the lobby and talk about it because there's more coming, but are there any pressing questions for anybody who doesn't want to see me out in the lobby? Anybody? Anything? Oh, that's great. Oh, okay. Huh? Well, okay, I'll go to each of you. What did you think? What did you think? What did you think? All right, no questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You have a bazillion clips in the film, obviously, from
all
different
from my
films.
collection.
No, but
Yeah.
do you have clearances for all those already?
Yes, we do.
That's cool.
Thankfully, being the writer, I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to do that. You know, that's what the producer is all about in Lux Digital Pictures. I just said, you need this. They didn't use all the clips I used, and of course, the book at 360 pages is far more complete than this. There were times out there I was going, oh, they should have used that connection, should have used that connection. But even so, as it was, you know, generally, this was an improvement on the rough cut, so I'm pretty happy. It ends pretty strongly, I thought, so that's pretty cool. Yes?
As the writer watching it, do you feel it's paced right, or do you
No.
think it could have been longer?
No, it's not so much the longer or shorter so much, it's just the flow. There were some things I thought were still a little abrupt in their transition. There were some things that flowed really well, went from shot to shot, and you could hear people react to the right cut. But there are other things where the movie just sort of stopped dead. Thankfully, the action picks it up right away.
But let's talk about the good things, all right?
Okay.
I mean,
well, that's up to you.
What I like about it, I mean,
Yeah.
as a diehard fan of martial arts films, it's such a huge topic that people don't realize, that it just spans such a wide history,
Right.
but also various different nationalities which have been involved in it. And that's what I liked about it, is that, I mean, okay, my girlfriend's here, and she's been hearing me talk about Hong Kong films, and I've been showing select bits of it, and so finally, this is something which explains, this saves me a lot of breath,
Yeah.
because it kind of, but it doesn't, I mean, you talk about Kwan Tak King,
Right.
Wong Fei Hong in the original, but then when you make those kind of departures, you're like, and this is how America was doing it, but doing it wrong.
Again, what you need to do is read my book. But in any event, be that as it may, that's far more detailed. The only thing I wish I had hammered a little stronger was that, you know, even though the panda said it's all inside, the great thing about Kung Fu movies is that even subconsciously, you're aware that they're actually doing this, which means you can actually do it. If you train at it, if you train like Gene Kelly, or you only need 5% of Kung Fu to teach it for the rest of your life. That's how powerful it is. I wish I had hammered that a little stronger home. Again, in the book, it's hammered home stronger, which is everything they do, you can do. It's all inside you. There is no special ingredient. There's only you. And Kung Fu is a self-improvement system. It's not a fighting system. The fighting is a side effect of knowing and understanding Mother Nature and human nature, which again, I wish I had hammered more here. But this is a good primer. I'm hoping it also brings stuff to both the veteran fan as well as the novice. That's what I'm hoping. And I'm very happy that it ends strongly. I got kind of chills at the end there, so I was going, that's good. Because you want to leave them with a great ending so they're feeling stronger.
I mean,
so I'm hoping it did that.
I like the fact that it's, I mean, it's kind of a good kind of like greatest hits. And oftentimes you're like, seeing it big, you're like, oh, I've never seen that projected. Oh, that would be so great to see that projected. It's just like, so it's, I mean, it's going to make people seek these films out.
I hope. And again, I hope that you'll tell me what you think, with all honesty, good or bad, outside, so we can make it even better. If there was something you felt was lacking or could have been stronger, or something you thought was just perfect, shouldn't be touched, I would love to know about it. So, anything else?
Anything else here?
Yes, sir.
Well, just as a fan, did you have to choose between Snake and the Eagle Shadow and Drunken Master?
No, this was interesting. This was all when I was originally asked to direct it, but I couldn't direct it, so when the two wonderful Andrews took over, they made those choices. Also, I want to make it clear that I did not write the animation. The animation was brought on afterwards. As a matter of fact, the animation is a heartbreak for me, because I was expecting to be able to go back to Hong Kong and interview all the great guys that I love in the way they always should have been interviewed, by someone who knows what they do Kung Fu. But then my producer calls me at 2009 at the San Diego Comic-Con, where I was doing my 11th Kung Fu extravaganza there, and he says, I decided, I've seen all the other documentaries, none of the interviews are any good, we're just going to use animation. And I went, oh, no. I didn't say that because that makes them even stronger. I said, well, and I try to explain the situation that if you ask a football player why his team always gets a home run with a baseball bat, he'll look at you the same way those Kung Fu guys were looking at their interviewers, because these people were ignorant, but he still had to do animation. The only animation suggestion of mine that I gave them was the scene from the Kung Fu sequence from David Carradine, the dating game sequence. That was my suggestion. The rest of the animation was entirely theirs, and Stephen Sloan from Canada, who actually did the animation. So they made all the choices. I just gave them my library and said, you should use this, you should use this, you should use this, but they just chose what they decided they thought was best.
When the producer, Tom, first told me that they'd made that decision, like I'd been talking to the producers of the film for quite a while, and when they told me that they'd made the decision to go with the animated
rather than talking heads.
How is that going to work, really? But then when I saw it, I was like, this is fun. This is actually a really, like I said, it's a really good primer for sometimes for like a kind of a more general audience, but a documentary with an animated kind of wraparound, I thought it worked.
And thank God for Kung Fu Panda. Because if Kung Fu Panda, if they didn't do that transition at the end from Kung Fu Panda to the animated character becoming the Kung Fu Master, that kind of thrilled me. So again, I bless Kung Fu Panda, because Kung Fu Panda is the best Kung Fu movie ever made in America, without question. Absolutely, without question. Yes? Yeah.
We were having a discussion last night about the Bruceploitation films, and those were pretty quickly disregarded, understandably.
Dismissed, yes.
But are there any of those that you actually like and you just didn't have room for?
It's funny, it's in the book. No, it is in the book. I do talk about the several the Bruceploitation movies that were better than awful. But as I also point out in the book, the fact that they were being done at all is the problem, not the relative quality of each of them. It's like if one of our actors dies, John Wayne or something, and then we make John Payne movies or Clint Westwood movies. That's pretty low. And he was a god to them, and they treat their gods like this. And you know, but again, the worst one was Game of Death. The Game of Death abomination was just heartbreakingly awful.
Was it you? And it was definitely all you, not the editors, to include all the like floating head shots from Game of Death, because that was great.
Yeah, we all, you know, we wanted to get the highlights of how bad that movie was. We can't, with only 90 minutes, I couldn't get into the huge details, but of course, I'm told it's in a book that's really cool and that I don't want to bring home, so everybody should buy it outside after this.
Well, on that note,
yeah.
Yes. Anyone else has got another?
And you can ask all questions outside too.
We see TMNT during the credits in the background. Was there ever a part that it was actually part of the
Which one?
You talk about it?
Teenage Ninja Turtles.
Oh yes, again, in the book. the book, originally the screenplay was much longer. The screenplay was it could have been done up to 3 hours. And I touched on everything. I mean, everything. I mean, you notice that Jean-Claude Van Damme is not in the movie. All in the book, but they made their decisions as to, you know, what they thought was best for, because they were novices. The two Andrews, Andrew Robinson and Andrew Corby, didn't know Kung Fu movies, didn't know Kung Fu. So they all had to take it from me, but they also had, as directors, had to go from what they thought was important and exciting. Because we're trying to make this, like I said, for everybody, from the veteran fans to the novices. And hopefully, you know, fingers crossed.
8711.
I'm sorry?
8711 in the book.
8711? What do you?
The stunt team, the
who get?
Matrix and all the kind of like the Yan Wu-Ping school.
Oh,
the Americans.
Oh, the Americans. Well, there's several teams. I don't go into detail. The book was finished at the beginning of 2010, so I didn't get into an enormous amount of things. And also, we'll talk about them outside. I have issues with them and issues with American Kung Fu, because it's not really Kung Fu. The other thing the movie doesn't do, which I, again, begged them to do, was make a very clear distinction between Kung Fu and Japanese martial arts. Most American stuff is Japanese martial arts. It's straight. I mean, even Forbidden Kingdom, which thank God they didn't get into here because my venom and acid would come flying into the audience and kill you all, is that here they had the three greatest Kung Fu film minds in the world, Yuen Woo-ping as choreographer, Jackie Chan and Jet Li starring, and they didn't let them do Kung Fu for a moment in the movie. It was all mixed martial arts. You'll see occasionally they'll hit what is called stances. Stances are used to power yourself up with your internal energy and the energy of the world around you. And you would see in Forbidden Kingdom, they would occasionally hit a pose that was recognizable Kung Fu. But the moment they started fighting, it was all straight punches, it was all anger and muscle driven, which is flatly not Kung Fu. It's mixed martial arts. And by the way, there's a joke in Chinese Kung Fu. Do you know what mixed martial arts is mixed with? Crap. Okay, and on that note,
Yes.
and it's all in the book.
All
so
right.
Anyway, but we can
We'll
talk
see
more
you in
about
the
that.
lobby.